Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wonder why some memories stick with you forever while others just fade away? Or how your brain makes sense of a constant stream of new information? Well, this new study dives right into that, exploring how our expectations shape memory. Imagine you are watching a movie or listening to a story. Your brain doesn't just see it as one long, unbroken stream of images or sounds. Instead, it breaks it down into smaller, meaningful chunks or events. Think about it like chapters in a book. These event boundaries are crucial for how we understand and, importantly, how we remember what happened. But how does your brain decide where one event ends and another begins? This is where the idea of predictions comes in. Scientists have long thought that when something unexpected happens, our brain flags it as an event boundary. It's like a hua, something changed moment. This prediction error is a big clue. But what if it is not just about being surprised? What if moments of uncertainty also play a role? Think about the end of your workday. You might be unsure whether to go to the gym or meet friends for dinner. That uncertainty itself might signal a kind of transition. This is the core question researchers set out to explore. They wanted to know if these different types of prediction cues, like being surprised versus being uncertain, not only help us segment our experiences into events, but also differently affect how we store those events in our memory. Does a surprising event boundary make memories stronger? Does an uncertain one make them more detailed or perhaps less connected to what came before or after? To figure this out, they designed a clever experiment. They used auditory narratives, basically stories read aloud. They had a huge number of participants, over 1,000 in the first experiment, listening to these stories online. Their job was simple. Press a button whenever they felt an event boundary, a moment where one event ended and another began. While the humans were listening and pressing buttons, the researchers were doing something pretty high-tech. They used a sophisticated computer program, a large language model called GPT-2, to analyze the stories word by word. Think of this AI as a super predictor at every single word in the story. It calculated the probability of what word would come next. This gave them a detailed map of how predictable the story was, moment by moment. They used this AI's predictions to measure three key things. First, surprisal. This is basically how unlikely the actual word spoken was. According to the AI, high surprisal means wow, that was unexpected. Second, entropy. This measures the AI's uncertainty about what word could come next. If the AI has a lot of equally possible words it could choose from, entropy is high, meaning I am not sure what is coming. And third, Bayesian surprise. This is a bit more complex. It looks at how much the entire pattern of predicted words changes from one moment to the next. It is like the AI's overall feeling of things just got different, rather than just about a single word. What they found was that the times when people pressed the button for an event boundary, these prediction measures usually showed a spike. Surprisal, the measure of unexpectedness, often peaked right at the boundary. Entropy and Bayesian surprise, measures of uncertainty and overall change, tended to peak just a little bit after the boundary. This told them that people are really sensitive to changes in predictability when deciding that an event has ended. To make sure their findings weren't just a quirk of online participants, they ran a second experiment with people tested in person. The results were very similar, which boosted their confidence that these prediction signals are indeed important for how we break down stories into events. But the real magic happened in the third experiment. This is where they looked at memory. They had another group of participants listen to the stories. But this time, they weren't asked to mark event boundaries. Instead, right after listening, they had to recall everything they could remember. To analyze these memories, they used a technique called topic modeling. This breaks down the stories and the recalled memories into their core themes. Then they used the event boundaries identified in the earlier experiments to see how well people remembered specific events and how events were linked together in their recall. This is where things got really interesting. They found that the prediction measures they calculated with the AI weren't always the same for every event boundary. Using something called principal component analysis, which is a way to find the main patterns in complex data, they identified two key ways prediction states vary. The first, let's call it PC1, captured moments where surprisal, entropy, and Bayesian surprise all change together. This suggests a big overall shift in what the AI and likely our brains expected. The second, PC2, highlighted moments where uncertainty and surprise seem to be in opposition. For example, when the AI was uncertain about what was coming, but the overall pattern hadn't drastically changed. Now, how did these different prediction states affect memory? This is the crucial part. They found that when an event boundary was associated with a high PC1 score, meaning a big global shift in expectation, events were more likely to be remembered. That makes sense. Surprising or significant changes grab our attention and make things more memorable. But here is the really surprising part. PC1, the big all-around prediction shift, didn't just make the event itself more memorable, it seemed to help integrate that event with the next event that followed. It was like the big reset created a stronger connection between what just happened and what was about to happen. Now, what about PC2, the one related to uncertainty? When events started with low uncertainty, a low PC2 score, meaning things were pretty predictable and clear, they also found better memory integration. Specifically, recall of the next event was more likely when the previous event had low uncertainty. This suggests that when things are predictable and clear, our brains smoothly link events together in memory. On the flip side, events associated with high uncertainty, high PC2 scores, actually led to less integration between memories. It's like the uncertainty created a bit of a disconnect, making it harder for memories of sequential events to smoothly flow into each other. So what does this all mean? The study makes a strong case that our brains don't just use one signal to know when an event ends. They use a mix of cues related to surprise and uncertainty. And critically, the type of prediction change at an event boundary has a different impact on our memories. Moments of big global prediction shifts like PC1 seem to enhance memory for the event itself and create stronger links to subsequent information. This might be because these shifts grab our attention and encourage deeper processing. Think of a major plot twist in a movie. It is memorable and it recontextualizes everything that comes after. On the other hand, moments of low uncertainty, where things are predictable, help to integrate events smoothly in memory. This allows for a cohesive narrative understanding. It's like reading a well-written chapter where everything transitions logically. The takeaway here is that the dynamic ebb and flow of our expectations during an experience directly influences how we organize and remember it. It's not just what happens, but how expected or unexpected it is that shapes our mental timeline. This research is really exciting because it bridges the gap between how we use sophisticated AI to understand language and how our own brains process and remember information. It suggests that by understanding these prediction dynamics, we can get a clearer picture of how our memories are structured and maybe even learn how to optimize learning and retention. Future research will likely continue to explore these fascinating links, perhaps by looking at brain activity alongside these prediction measures. What do you think about these findings? Does it make sense that surprise strengthens memory and predictability integrates it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this as interesting as I did, please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to RUBIN'S Mind Lab for more awesome science breakdowns and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next dive into the human mind. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.